and shine like the sun, wild ones. It's Bernadette, and I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Saturday, March 27th, 2021. Y'all, your future's so bright, you're gonna have to wear shades because it's the duck card, the sun. My favorite card of all cards in the deck. Yes, it is. So, here's what's really interesting. I've never had a reading, the mediumship, y'all. Oof, man, there must be a whole bunch of y'all out there that are thinking about your loved ones who've crossed over today, because I'm lighting up like the sun is under my behind on this chair. So, this is an interesting thing that came through today for this card. I've never, it's never come through before. So I really think that, for y'all that watched yesterday's video, that watched the daily reading video yesterday and did the interactive exercise with your throat chakra and whatnot, wow, I think this specifically pertains to you, because what I was told, the sun card, if you take a look at the traditional Rider-Waite tarot card meanings of this card, there's this sweet happy baby, naked as a jaybird, sitting on this white horse, and all of that billowing red thing that represents victory, and then you've got the sunflowers behind it, representing, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but sunflowers are very, very indicative of psychic energy, in particular mediumship. And so, sitting there in the buff for the world to see with the crown of yellow flowers on his head, it's just such a card of accomplishment, but it's also a card of enlightenment. So, he's sitting there like, ta-da! And that's true, that the sun card, the sun tarot card really is like, listen, it's time to take center stage. You don't have to be modest right now. I mean, you don't have to be a blowhard about it, obviously. But, you're under a cloudless blue sky, and it's filled with the radiant sun energy. And you've got the orange in there, and all of these great symbols that represent wealth and happiness and success and just crazy good energy, right? And then when you take a look at the little one being in the buff, it certainly brings to mind that it's okay to be naked to the world. And I don't, yes, it certainly could mean, it certainly could be without your clothes. It could be that. But really, I think it speaks more of bearing who you really are to the world, and not wearing a mask, and not trying to pretend, and not trying to hide. And, my God, if I heard once in my practice, I'm a private person. Okay, that's fine. Be all the private you want to be, and show up authentically in the world. And when people, say they're private, there are some people that truly show up in the world who they are, who they truly, truly are. And then there are some people that show up in the world and they're just so private about everything that they play a part, like they play a role any time that they're talking to you. So if they're in a really excellent mood, you don't know that they're in a really excellent mood. If they tell you they got enough sleep, you don't know that, you just don't know. You just don't know about those people. There's always something that's just not, it just doesn't jibe. It just doesn't click, right? Oh God, I got a story I want to tell y'all, but I won't bore you. Just know it's really difficult to be single at 54 in this world. Can I just tell you? Because the stories you hear, and I'm just like, just to the last person I was talking to for about a minute and a half, I said, you do know what I do for a living? And he said, yes. And I said, I'm guessing you don't take that very seriously. And he said, oh no, I absolutely do. I said, no, I don't think you do. And he said, well, why is that? And I said, because you just told me the biggest, fattest lie with the biggest little innocent eye looking on your face and the biggest smile. I said, who the heck do you think you're fooling? His face turned 100,000 shades of red. He said, you're right, you got me. And I said, hence why it's been a pleasure. And that was that. But I mean, to the average person, he would have really gotten one over on them. I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's just, going on out in the world, spreading this just crazy nonsense. But I caught him. So bully for me. And I hope he thinks twice before he tells the next gal the crazy nonsense he told me, like for instance, he used to, Never mind. It doesn't matter. It was just too kooky. But anyway, so it's an adventure, and I think I'm going to start a blog called, Single Fat and 54. But I really do because it's just the dating scene, and I know a lot of y'all out there can identify with that. And it's not about me; it's about you. But where I'm going with this really is about you showing up in the world who you really are. And we've talked about that before, in readings and on my channel and in everything I do. But this is very different because when you take a look at the animal that represents the sun card, it's this beautiful, bright yellow little ducky. And then there's the egg cracked behind it. It's white. It's like that horse, that the little fella is on in the traditional card. And it just speaks of bursting free and being able to get where you want to go. And the white is the divine angel energy and all the energy from the heavens. But here's the thing. I was reminded by Spirit this morning. Oh, and by the way, so I've had this with, my niece had it for a long time. And then she gave it to me when she moved. My mom bought this for my niece 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And it's one of those little toys that, you wind up and then it scoots along. And it reminds me of the little yellow bird that was singing for y'all yesterday. Never mind. Okay, so I bring this up because I keep this on my desk at all times. It reminds me of my mom, and it reminds me of my niece. And my niece is still here with us. She's a trauma nurse. So proud of her. She's doing her sacred work in the world. But I keep this here because one of the things that I discovered shortly after my niece giving me that was that it's really difficult to tell duck species apart when they're chicks because so many of them come out yellow or one color and then they turn another color as they mature. And what that really reminded me of for you all today, and why I think this reading is so powerful on a Saturday with the sun energy, your third eye chakra is the ruling chakra of today, is you very well may have to revert to when you were a child. That's different than finding the inner child. In that, and there are those that would argue that it's not, but what I mean is back to that time where you didn't care if you laughed so hard snot came out of your nose. That was part of the fun of it. You didn't care if you made a fool of yourself. In your mind and in your heart, anything you wanted was possible. Dreams did come true. All of that hopefulness, all of that golden sun energy. But the difference is this time you've got to mature into the adult that still believes that and still wants those things. Not the adult that somewhere along the way said, well, those dreams won't really work, or those were childhood fantasies, or this or that. This is very specific. This reading is very specific to what you wanted earlier in life. And it's a maturity thing. And what that means is this. When we're in middle school, when we're in high school, even when we're in elementary school, peer pressure, social pressure is so much. No wonder people have social anxiety. No wonder. And the more the world has gotten where it is today, it's no wonder people have triple that. I mean, in my day, if a mean girl was going to pick on you, the rumor might have spread around the school, but now it's on Twitter, it's on Twitch, it's on TikTok, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's every dang where. And now, not only, is a child having to contend with bullies like that, and I don't even think they're bullies. I just think they are. There's another word. There are another bunch of words for people like that, and it includes expletives, and that's just the core of their being, who they are at that moment. Now, maybe you were a mean girl in school. I was a combative girl in school, but I didn't have the luxury of being a mean girl. I was one of the fattest kids in school. I had cystic acne. We were poor. Oh my Lord, I was just a target, right? With a big mouth. So I never made anything easier for myself at all. But I didn't have the luxury of being a mean girl. So I was just a hateful girl when someone picked on me. But what I'm saying is you might have been one of the mean girls and you regret that now today and you're a different person today. Okay, then let's go back and connect that. Use duck energy, use the sun energy to help you grow into the person you really are today. And some of that may mean going back and healing some of the things, some of the situations that you caused. I know this is getting a little complicated, but let me see if I can straighten this out. So when we you know, whatever we say, whatever we do, it sends a vibe out into the universe. It sends electricity out into the universe, and the universe responds to that. And it's out there forevermore until you fix it, heal it, piece it back together. It's still out there broken. You may have moved on. You may be a different person. You may have matured, but that situation, that's why people do that. They do this thing called constellations, which is about family healing. There are people that do DNA healing with family. There are all kinds of, you know, folks out there that teach you how to heal, shamanic practitioners with soul, soul retrieval. This is where they travel through, you know, the no such thing as time and space, and they grab the fragmented pieces of your soul and they bring it back to you and do all this amazing healing. But you can do that yourself. And that's the Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian thing, that I've read about. I've never done it myself. I've seen it done. When it's done with true intent, it is very powerful. Like, I've watched miracles happen right in front of my eyes. Long-lasting miracles, like forever miracles. So when I think about this for y'all, and I download the messages from the animal allies, this is about, well, can I sit in quiet for a minute, and can I think back to a moment in my life where my dreams just went away, or I tucked them away? Or it's amazing, y'all. I've read 65,000 or more people at this point in my career as a reader. 65,000. It might seem like that's not possible, but you talk about a few decades worth of doing this, and then you talk about doing large events where you read people every 5 minutes, and then you talk, you know, in my younger days, I would read 50, 60 people a week. It was nuts, right? So I've heard over and over and over and over again, I wish I could go back and fix. I wish I could go back and say I'm sorry. I wish I could go back and do whatever. So I have come up with the hypothesis, well, I didn't really, it was downloaded into me one day. And this was years ago. I was sitting and talking to a lady. Y'all, I thought I was going to have to call paramedics for this woman. I really did. I don't know that I've ever seen anyone so upset in my office. And what had happened was she had had her moment of spiritual awakening. And, you know, when you get that moment and you're like, all this stuff comes to you, the guilt, oh my gosh, the guilt people shoulder when they think back on their actions earlier in life. Now, some people are unnecessarily hard on themselves. You know, they'll be like, well, I didn't share my chocolate bar with my brother. I've always felt guilty about that. Okay. But when you are a person who stuffed somebody in a locker, or you lied about them and, you know, helped turn half the school against them, or got them, you know, gossiping, or, you know, just shamed them so bad, or, you know, at all, you know, that's some heavy guilt to bear. So it had hit her, and she just wanted to know, was she going to go to hell? But interestingly, that wasn't really her fear. Her heart really was, I still feel that person's hurt so deeply, because when you hurt someone else, when they hurt you, you make no mistake. They feel it in their spirit. They know what they've done to you. They're not oblivious. Now, they might be oblivious here in their human consciousness in this 3D, but their spirit is ripping to shreds while it's ripping you to shreds. And likewise, if you've ever done anything ugly to someone, you know, I've got to believe that where you are now, because you wouldn't be watching my channel if you weren't spiritually awakening, and you surely wouldn't be watching my channel and this video in particular if this wasn't what you needed to hear at the moment and at the time. And most importantly, you wouldn't be watching my channel unless you loved animals. And people that love animals are, you know, I'm going to break out into Barbara Streisand's song, are the luckiest people in the world, right? So, I know this keeps being crooked, but I keep wanting to put my hand over this and just hold it really, really, really tight. And that's interesting because most of the color is yellow, and that's, you know, that's the color of the card today. And I just also feel like there's something very yellow going on with you guys, even for people that don't really resonate with yellow, which of course is a solar plexus. But I wonder if today you're not supposed to be, yes, using your third eye chakra to go through all of this, but maybe also your solar plexus chakra, so that you can have that kind of creativity where you can think back and think of the situations that you want to heal, not just for yourself, maybe that someone did to you, but that you might have done to someone else. And here's what this has to do with all of this maturity. Carrying around guilt, man, It's just heavy, and it gets heavier. The more we ignore it, the more we don't heal it, the heavier it gets. And there's a maturity in just bucking up and saying, yes, I did that, and I am so sorry, if you really are sorry. Now, I had a situation last week on one of my lives. Man, I was cranky. I wasn't cranky like me. I wasn't cranky, but naive me, I didn't know that trolls would come on my channel and try to tell people they were me and try to get them to send them money for a reading. There were some people really upset with me, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I got all these emails like, this is what happens. These are from friends of mine. They're like, hey, I was on your call and I noticed this, so on and so forth. I was like, oh my gosh. So now I have to announce at the first of every live, y'all, my Bernadette will never do anything tacky like that, ever. That's never going to happen, ever. And I'm not going to have my moderators do anything like that. So we've been working hard to shut down the trolls. But man, it irked me during that live. And I called him a jackass, and I said some other things. And I still don't regret it. I don't. I know I should. I know I should be more spiritual than that, but I don't. I'm actually pretty proud of myself that my triple Scorpio Southerner didn't come out the way it might normally have come out, because my job is to protect y'all. My job is to give you the best, safest environment and experience possible. And when people want to invade that, homie, don't play that. I just don't. And so it's that kind of thing. Eventually I might hop on a popo for something like that, but probably not. But there's a thing for y'all today to think about how you can mature in your own spiritual beliefs, your own spiritual practices. You're going to it's going to be crazy successful, because what that means is these are the blocks that you have subconsciously have that are going to remove the block that's keeping you from moving forward to get to the dreams, make the dreams a reality. The dreams that you had when you were a kid, a reality. And you're just going to go, oh, we don't need that anymore. Oh gosh, that pebble's too heavy. That's too heavy. And all of a sudden you're going to feel like, Grandpa Joe and, Willy Wonka in the fizzy floating drinks. You're just going to be like, the next thing you know, you're going to be so light of spirit, you're going to be floating up on your ceiling. And that's how it works. So, well, I hope y'all do that. I really, really hope that you come tomorrow, even if you don't come in the morning for it, but I hope that you come sometime tomorrow for the Sunday ceremony, the benediction, because next week, Spirit lit me up yesterday. I mean, lit me up. Every animal that's going to come next week, everything that's going to come next week, starting with the Sunday ceremony, I got crazy goosebumps. Woo, is about abundance. And by the end of next week, we're doing abundance next week. So pick up your copy of the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, subscribe to my YouTube channel, get on over to gatheringofmystics.com so we can discuss everything and you can get the help you need and the support you want. And please, 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 please set your clocks for April 1st. That's the book launch on Kickstarter. You've got to have this book. Anybody that really is serious or really wants to know about spirit, totem, and power animals, it is the biggest, most complete book on the planet about the subject. You need this book. You've got to have this book. But all of that said, the most important thing today and every day is to do good for animals and to stay wild.